Yeah, it's just a little story about, some of the awesome ability we have in terms of providing the forum for that healing that person will achieve on their own. Their body will heal themselves, as all bodies do, but we have to provide the correct environment and energetic awareness, if you will, and then those so-called miracles occur.
It seems that would be the difference between, say, if you take a relationship, the idea of a love pattern or a relationship pattern, and, say, a divine connection to that limitless power where you talked about it's a version of love. So is it versions of truth?
Yes, because love requires truth. Love in a relationship, if we go back to what you're talking about, relationship, if you have love in the relationship, love can withstand just about anything. But love requires trust. And trust requires truth. And trust is the most fragile of a relationship area. When the trust is broken, it's much like a crystalline vase. It will just shatter into so many little pieces you can't put it back together again. So it's very hard to maintain the love without the trust. You can't maintain the trust without the truth. And so it goes. You see that? Yeah?
Yes. That's interesting because so you might enter into a pattern because you haven't learned to trust then?
Yeah. It could be as simple as the past is affecting and even infecting the future.
So
that the person is ruled by their past, for instance.
Okay. So, but then also in the relationship, there may be reason not to trust. But so there's a couple of different. I can see why this is highly individual.
Well, I have another little quick story about a fellow who had complained to his friends, of which I was one, and he hadn't been able to find a gal that, it never worked for him.
Okay.
He just hadn't been able to find a gal that this was going to be the thing for him. And he, we were all out at a social thing, and there was lovely young women there that he could, meet and party up with, and I'm sure there should be some chemistry, and there was a number of them. But those ones he didn't pay any attention to. He started looking at the wild one, that wasn't going to be able to hold that relationship, and he really was attracted to that one. And you could start to see the handwriting on the wall all over again. And so, we have to start right at some basics. What are we picking and why are we picking this, and is it go back to somebody who was out of control when we were young and that we got kind of imprinted with this, if you will.
Yeah. I think, so people, another instance, because I want to go back to the idea, I'm thinking a lot of our listeners are practitioners, or so the idea of shielding and the idea of working on your clients, or if you are a client, and having a healthy relationship with clients too. So would your work help for practitioners who already have an established business too?
Oh, absolutely. I think any practitioner will talk to you openly about the fact that the whole reason the client is consulting you is because you are capable of a caring kind of detachment. I mean, where would that client be if you heard that story and you dissolved into, wails and despair and beating your breast and falling down on the floor? I mean, really, are we going to be much good for that client? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And yet, this is the impact on us, that every time there is this dynamic, where they're telling us things that are horrific and heinous, then, we need to be able to maintain and then somehow get it off of us if there's any absorption. And, I see it all the time. People are fine. They go to a party, they walk in the door, and then all of a sudden they're absorbing all this stuff that, everybody's carrying in that party. And then do they even know they've got it? Do they know how to get rid of it? I mean, so this is all prevented by having an ability to enforce that shielding or that natural energetic field that we all have.
Hi there, my name is Nina Wallinder, and I wanted to talk to you about Layers of Health. Layers of Health is a free online community dedicated to investigating holistic and alternative health options. These options can include physical health, mental and emotional health, business health, as well as your spiritual health. So you can join me as I discuss your health concerns with various experts, mentors, and leaders in their fields. And these interviews are offered for free live as well as during special encore presentations. But if you find one that is particularly interesting to you, you can also purchase it. So you can join me at www.layersofhealth.com, and I'll see you on the calls.